Hey guys, today we are listening to one of the greatest short stories from the book of 100 World's Greatest Short Stories. The title name is The Omnibus. This story was written by author Collier and Coach and narrated by Harshita. It was not so much a day as burning, fiery furnace. The roar of London's traffic reverberated under a sky of coppery blue. The pavements threw out of waves of heat, thickened with the reek of restaurants and perfumery shops, and dust became cinders, and the wearing of flesh awareness. Streams of a sweat ran from the bellies of bus horses. When they halted, men went up and down with unbuttoned waistcoats, turned into drinking bars, and were no sooner inside than they longer to be out again and baking in an ampler oven. Other men who had given up drinking because of the expense hung about the fountains in Trafalgar Square and listened to the splash of running water. It was the time when London is supposed to be empty and when those who remain in town feel there is not a room for a soul more. We were 11 inside the omnibus when it pulled at Charing Cross, so that legally there was a room for just one more. I had travelled enough in omnibuses to know my fellow passengers by heart of a governess with some shades of music in her statue, a minor actress going to rehearsal, a woman carrying her incurable complaint for the 100th time, the hospital. 3 middle-aged city clerks, a couple of reporters with a weak eyes and low collars, an old loose-cheeked woman exhaling punctually, and a bald-headed man with hairy hands, a violent breast pin in the inscrutable air of a matrimonial agent. Not a word passer. We are all failures in life and could not trouble to dissemble it. In the heat, moreover, we were used to each other as types, if not as persons, and had lost curiosities. So we sat crystals disappeared, drawing difficult breath and starting vacuously. The hope we shared in common that nobody would come the vacant seat was too obvious to be discussed, but a carrying course. The 12th cross passengers got in, a boy with a stick and a bundle in a blue handkerchief. He was about 13, bounded off for the docks. We could tell at a glance to sail on his first voyage, and by the way of he looked about, we could tell as easily. The tin stepping outside, carrying across station, he had a set of foot on London stones for the first time. When we pulled up, he was wondering at the new world of the handsomes, yelling new boys, the flower woman, the crowd pushing him this way and that, the ugly shop front few common street narrations and arose or two, the sight and smell of the in the frozen bus were like tears on three islands. We had kissed that pity what well we were, but the heart is for withered that cannot pity the what it is. It has been, and it made us so shudder to look on the young face set towards the road along which it had travelled so far. Only the minor actress dropped a tear, but she was used to exploring emotion, and halfway down the strand the bus stopped and she left us. The woman in incurable complaint touched me on the knee. "Speak to him," she whispered, but the whisper did not reach, for I too were miles away and occupied in starting off two schools for the first time. I had 2 shillings in my pocket, and that for the first town where the coach on. Also, I was to break the knife in opening the can, and then that when opened would so be sold. A sense of calming within you, therefore possible. Why don't you speak to him? The boy glanced up, not catching her words, but suspicious, then frowned and looked diffident. "Ah," she went on in the same whisper, "it's only the young that I pity. Sometimes, sir, for my eyelids keep me such awake. I lie at night in my lodgings and listen, and the whole of London seems filled with the sound of children's feet running. Even by day I can hear them at the back of the uproar." The matrimonial agent grunted and rose. We halted at the top of Excess Street. I saw him slip a couple of half-crowns into the conductor's hand, and he whispered something, jerking his head back towards the interior of the bus. The boy was brushing his eyes under pretense of putting his cap forward, and by the time he stole a look around to see if any had observed, we had started again. I pretended to stare out of the window, but marked the wet smear on his hand as he laid it on his lap. In less than a minute, it was my turn to alight. Unlike the matrimonial agent, I had not 2 half-crowns to spare, but catching the sick woman's eye, forced up courage to nod and say, "Good luck, my boy. Good day, sir." A moment after, I was in the hot crowd, whose roar rolled east and west for miles, and at back of it, as the woman had said, in the street and side lane and blind or alley, I heard in the footfall of a multitude more terrible than an army with banners, the cleanness, pleating feet of children of victims turning and turning again. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe to Chitty Kalakar. Click the bell icon for more interesting stories.